game.
I really like Complexity's draft.
I'm
as
favoring
well.
that draft.
And the Ember is a good counter to the PL, but I think the Ember is going to have a tough time against IO Tiny. It's just...
Their lane is weak, like
Yes.
a lot weaker than Complexity's lane.
So couch 2 is a dire couch. What do you guys think over here?
I'm with EG. I think they're gonna actually change the lanes up to something that's gonna be very favorable for them.
I think this Clinks is just going to go insane. I don't think they have enough individual lockdown for him. I think you have to commit the Ravagers to kill him, honestly.
Very appropriate. So we have a Radiant couch and a Dire couch here. Should be some fireworks to lead out our first series of the day. Evil Geniuses versus Complexity. Game number 1. Let's go ahead and send it over to our casters now. Gentlemen, have some fun.
Prepare for battle.
It's Dakota, it's myself, Fody, Pixel, and Draskell, and we're here ready to bring you Game 1 of EG versus Complexity. As they said on the panel, a lot of tensions between these two sides. There's a little bit of drama. It's going to make the matchup that a bit more fun. Behind the scenes, there have been people talking up Complexity. I was talking to Boba the other day. He said, watch out for Complexity. They've got a chance. And he, of course, plays for Digital Chaos, one of the top 20 NA teams.
Yeah, I think this is definitely something to watch out for if you're EG, because like Winter was saying on the couch, I'm actually also fairly partial to Complexity's draft. I do feel like it offers you so much mobility during the mid game with the IO Tiny. Your team fight's fantastic. You have late game secured with the PL and the Tiny as well. So I don't know. It could go either way. The thing that I'm really curious about from EG's side is seeing how the support Beastmaster ends up working out. This is something that has been done a really long time ago, but with the introduction of Iron Talon, obviously it should be quite a bit better than it used to.
Alright, and in terms of just the overall draft, we've seen the Wyvern, used in obviously the changes. Do you still think this hero has got a really good position in this current meta, and especially against, I guess, lineups that have like your Nature's Prophet and the Beastmaster, where you know the group push is going to come in?
It can be pretty strong for sure. See if there's a fight going on here at the bottom rune. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and Complexity walk away with both bounty runes, actually. It's kind of surprising that they're able to get both that easily. So as far as the Winter Wyvern goes, I think that if you get a good Winter's Curse during the mid-late game, you can get a hero like even Ember killed, especially if you catch Arteezy with it, for example. Like Clinks is known for his monstrous single target damage output, and Ember doesn't typically build into items that give him survivability per se. It's all about the damage and like Blink Dagger for mobility. You don't really want to get caught. So I think that it can work. It's also a great way to give yourself extra bit of deep push. Can't really forget that Splinter Blast wasn't touched too much. It was pretty much just the ultimate that got nerfed really hard, or changed, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I do think that the lanes even are looking all right for Complexity here.
Oh, let's indeed see how the matchups do go. Bottom lane, Arteezy getting a bit of aggression here from Z-Freak and Jesse. And he's got to be careful, Artur. He'll turn around, trade some hits back onto the Wyvern. But as a whole, as you said, in the laning stage, you feel that Complexity definitely have the potential to come out with a bit of an edge.
I think that the lanes are actually, like Tidehunter versus Furion, both of these heroes are more or less going to farm, but it's going to be very difficult to actually pressure the Tidehunter in the situation. And then obviously bottom, it's a 2v1, so Clinks is going to have a really hard time doing anything about it, and a roaming Beastmaster can't really relieve any pressure from either the mid or the bottom lane whatsoever. So if he's walking down there to try to help, I mean, he can put a borer on maybe the Winter Wyvern and they can throw out a couple of auto attacks, but as far as lane pressure goes, it's not going to be too extreme. And then the mid matchup, you have Limp versus Handskin, and it feels like this is probably one lane where EG could potentially win, especially if the IO is not careful, like going for a rune. I could see him easily getting caught out by double disable. But can you see a toss back here?
Yeah, Samael in a bit of trouble. Toss straight under the tower. And this could be your first blood. Limp and Hanskin chasing him down. Samael with the chains and the Verify keeping himself alive at 20 HP. He pops the salve. The toss isn't going to be enough to burst him. Samael, he says, Roshan, take me! But no, the freak comes across the cliff, gets themselves first blood. And Samael, he was looking for the plays, but wasn't quite able to get to Roshan in time.
He was definitely not expecting that toss back. It's something that's very hallmark of a tiny mid, too. So I'm kind of surprised that Sumail let himself get caught out by that. Excellent rotation, too, from Z-Freak. As soon as he sees him running towards bottom, he just assumes that it's either going to be Roshan or he's going to be going for the rune, right? So just making that standard movement ends up giving him the first blood. So good stuff.
Swindles, and at PPD. PPD eyes up Swindles. It's a bit of a stare off and they walk it away, but yeah, the fact that Complexity get that edge here. I'm interested to see what the Tiny goes for. In this kind of game, do you think we are going to see the Tiny go straight for the Blink, or do you imagine we'll see drums, Aghanims from the mid-Tiny that we see sometimes?
You can kind of argue both, but I think it's more common to go for Blink Dagger when you don't have another hero who gives you initiation. So for example, yesterday we saw Tiny, and he was on a team with 2 Blink Dagger initiating heroes, and he was more of like the position 1. I think in this game, you're looking to Chessie to carry you on the PL, so you don't really need to go for like the drums, agonyms. Having the blink for relocates can secure you kills on a lot of members of EG. The Beastmaster and the Clinks with Death Pact are going to be the two most durable. The other ones are pretty easy to take out.
Fair at the moment, just picking up some levels here in the jungle with the double boars and the Talon. He's level 3 at the moment, so getting a decent amount of XP CS-wise. Artur at the beginning, we saw him having a bit of a tough time on the Clinks, but he's really caught back up. He's now 3rd on the board, and it is EG keeping themselves just slightly on top with regards to the farm. Still very, very early days, and I think Complexity, they'll be happy with that first spurt onto Sumail. And the question is, on top lane, Universe. He's given a bit of some on Swindles, trapped him up there. Universe really doing a good job of controlling this lane. That he's 20 for 8 against the 12 for 0 at the Tide.
Yeah, he's starting to edge out Swindle a bit. The fact that he gets the phase boots, like this is the point in the lane where the Nature's Prophet can start to pull ahead because you hit so hard with just the phase boots that you can start to deal damage even through the Kraken Shell. And it doesn't look like Swindle got enough money to finish his Tranquils. So this puts him in a really awkward spot where he either has to ferry regen or he's pretty much just going to let Universe free farm. And that looks to be what it's going to be for now.
Universe indeed zapping about there with those phase. Just forcing Swindles back. He's level 5 at the moment, still getting the XP on this Tide. The question is, I mean, when do you feel we're going to start to see the big rotations from either of the teams?
I think EG can move fairly early. When you have a Furion, you always can expect that like the Winter Wyvern could be a target you could go for if the Lion's there. PPD gets like a stun into a Hex, it could very easily be a kill. Looks like they're just going to be contesting the pull right now, but either team can make rotations. I think it's just more likely that Complexity will wait until the Tidehunter and the IO are 6. And at the very least, like Tiny wants a few levels into Avalanche and Toss as well. Those are just the innate skill set they need to actually start to play aggressive.
Chessie is really doing well there on this lane now. 26 for 5. Zafreak has been doing a great job in terms of keeping the Clinks at base, so PL can still find an equal amount of farm against him. Top lane Universe continues to come back in and pop down the Sprout. Swindles. He's now going to have that level 6 online, so this may be the point where we see someone come up to the top lane to try to help out the Tide, get a kill on to Universe. Got the IO rotating in, leaving Limp alone against Sumail. The mid matchup in terms of last hits, Sumail on the 16 for 1, and then of course Limp on the 31 for 11, so that IO did do a great job in terms of just allowing the Tiny to win that lane.
Yeah, it's a lane that's really hard to contest because Tiny being able to throw out tosses non-stop for CS, the threat of being thrown into the tower, we saw how effective that was against Sumail when he got first blooded. The lane itself is very difficult to just straight up fight, especially considering Lion isn't known as an extremely strong lane support. He's kind of that guy who can be annoying with mana drain. You can rotate with him and whatnot, but he's not really the greatest at zoning, and he's been making transitions from bottom lane to mid all game. And Sumail's actually almost level 6 right now. And with that, it becomes significantly harder for Complexity to make any sort of rotation towards him. And you can see, like reflected by the CS as well, that EG are actually farming quite well. The fact that like Artur's got like 33 and 2 right now, and that was a dual lane pretty much. Like Z-Freak only rotated 1 time to bottom rune, and it doesn't really feel like the lane is supposed to give him that much farm.
Mid lane, EG looking to kick someone off. Fear, he's just hit 6 in the jungle. He comes straight in with a roar onto Lim. Artur's there as well. They'll take down the Tiny, and they'll force Handsken back. I just wanted to mention just Fear, the fact that it was as if Complexity had just forgotten about him. He was sat there in the jungle, got that great timing, hitting level 6 at 6 minutes in, and that allows him to just rotate in into the mid lane and come in with just an extremely effective gank that Complexity weren't able to do anything to stop.
It's a very greedy style of play, and it doesn't really feel like Complexity supports can punish it. Like most of the time when you see an IO in the laning phase, unless you're partnered with an extremely aggressive hero on the first couple of levels, you're not really going to find any kills, and Winter Wyvern's more or less the same. So Complexity run a static laning phase against a greedy jungler and still aren't really getting the better of the lanes themselves. Like, look at how farmed right now this Furion is. Like, Universe is 48 and 9.
It's incredible.
Like, how do you justify having this laning phase if you're not actually pulling out ahead? I think the fact that EG are able to get Fear such a high level of farm during the early game, like he's just going straight Vlads, I think just very quickly this is going to turn into a push, and they're going to have to worry about like 5-man Dota at a very early state. Now, granted, they have Tidehunter, but Z-Freak is going to be level 6 in due time as well.
And Tide, he could be in trouble. Here we go. They're ready to make the breakthrough. RTZ coming in with the clicks. You've got Fear as well, and I think Primal Roar's just about to be available, and there it is. It's come off cooldown, he's going to use it, wants to secure themselves the kill there, and they will find it. Limp coming in with a combo, onto Fear, can he bring him down? Oh, not quite, Fear will survive. Arteezy just picking off the R on the back lines. It's a double kill for Klinks. Zafreak comes in, but EG looks to get away with this one. Fear, he's going to try and juke this out. Limp coming into the tree line. Oh, Fear, oh, he's juked him. Fear. He's still going to die, though. He's still going to die. Limp comes across with the avalanche. Fear, unfortunately, could not get himself out of that. Well, at the same time, Samael, did he just pick up the PL whilst that was all going on? He did indeed. So Samael getting himself a kill onto Chessie. That's going to bring it to 4 for 2. So even though they lose Fear there, I think EG will be very happy with that whole sequence of events.
Especially considering the fact that during this time, PPD's secured himself level 6. So he's got Finger available, which means you can still potentially burst the tide inside of a Roar with that kind of damage. And Winter was talking about it on the panel as well prior to the game starting. It's just having the capability of killing a hero through Cold Embrace when Winter Wyvern wants to go for a defensive play, having that nice split of magical and physical damage is going to be really key in making sure that they can take these fights. But we're going to have a quick pause. State of the game, I still feel as though EG are pretty far ahead just because of the nature of their lineup and how greedy it really is. But Complexity still have a couple of chances to get back here. Once Hanskin hits 6, once Z-Freak hits level 6, their team fight is going to be fully online. So I would expect that to be the point where they start to make their move. And as of right now, they've only lost 1 Tier 1 tower, so they still have plenty of time left to go.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh, God. He had help.
Universe securing the kill there
Yeah.
with the Nature's Wrath. He says, oh, so I'm not letting you have that.
That damage is completely insane. Like, IO has extremely low base armor. It's actually not even 1 full armor point, it's 0.9. And against the Klinks, who pretty much hits for nothing but physical damage, hurts a lot when you don't have anything around to help you out. So, nice kill here, rotation towards mid, EG looking to potentially dive.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Jesse getting caught out by the stun. Samael jumping forward with the Remnant. That's going to be 2 down, but they do lose Artur here. Limp in a bit of trouble as well here on the side of Complexity, but he's got the backup of Io. Now Fear, he's going to be the one on retreat. Swindles gets the gush out. They'll get the toss room. Fear will go down, so Complexity find 2 in return. Keeping the trade even. Maybe we'll see if they can chase for more. Samael and PPD, they're on the way out. Drums will be popped. Complexity looks like they won't quite be able to catch him here. They do have to blink up on Limp if he wants to jump in onto PPD, and he will. Jump straight in onto the line with the combo. PPD, PP dead. Samael will pick up Hanskin. It's going to be another 1-for-1. A couple of supports dropping in return for each other. But the trade's staying even there on that one.
Now, this is the stage where Complexity are going to start to have a bit of momentum. They still haven't really committed a Ravage to a team fight, and I think in some ways that's kind of a good thing, because now they can pressure the Tier 1 in the safe lane and make EG react to them. Looks like they're going to go for the trade. That tower was quite low, so Universe just makes his way back towards middle lane, secures that. And with the Blink Dagger on Limp, this is the stage in the game where like 4 out of 5 members of EG pretty much instantly die to that combo. And that is a very scary thing to think about.
Samael, he's got himself an Invis rune, and this could be big. Arteezy's there as well, but Complexity, they're coming in full force, straight away with a combo. Arteezy going low, and he's going to get taken down. It's a mega kill streak for Lim. Samael going forward with the Remnants. He's looking for Hanskin, but Hanskin tethers across him. He's just basing him in. Complexity, they're going for Samael. They're going to find it. He's out of mana and out of luck. He throws a Remnant now, but he can't jump to it. He's got 5 stick charges, but it doesn't matter because Samael is down. Double kill for Limp. And Limp's tiny at the moment. It's getting out of hand and out of control.
Now, the tempo of this game has sped up significantly, and as we mentioned, it's pretty much just because of the fact that all the ultimates are now online for Complexity. The irony is they win that team fight pretty handedly with the help of Limp, obviously that Blink Dagger proving to be an amazing pickup in this situation. Not having to use a single ultimate on this type of lineup and being able to apply so much pressure, they're getting the safe lane Tier 1 tower. Like, this is a stage in the game where EG have to be very cautious about how they're going to engage, making sure they're using Fears, Beastmaster, Hawks for vision, because if they get jumped continually like this, Complexity have that kind of lineup that can steamroll very easily.
Limp now, 1200 gold on top of the point booster. You can expect a pretty good timing on the Aghanims if the momentum does continue, as you say, that the Complexity certainly have at the moment with these team fights and Limp's initiations. And look at this, man. How's Samael doing in terms of items? He's got 1400, so I guess he's still trying to go for that boosted travel first. But it's certainly not going to be at the timing that he may have hoped for.
Oh, smoked right under the ward here. Yeah. So Sumail's going to have a pretty good idea this is coming. Mech actually picked up here in Universe after the drums too. So they know the 5-man is coming, and they are equipping themselves to deal with it accordingly.
As you said, it's unlikely Cole will find anything here.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Might give them the tip off though. They'll realise that they did do it under the Warden. I see that one being taken down. And Swindles, he's just a few hundred away from his own mechanism. As you said, in response to the fact that Universe has this. And Universe obviously still playing a very good game at the moment. Second highest on the net worth board. I mean, 6.3k coming up on this guy. Universe he's certainly playing his heart out here for EG.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast. In the laning phase, he started to pull ahead of Swindle fairly early. I think that lane's pretty volatile. Oh, Swindle.
He's a dead man. Here we come. EG jumping in. He'll get the Ravage out. And now Complexity looking for some kind of turnaround. Limp and Z-Freak turning up to the fight. Oh, our Universe with the Sprout. The raw follow-up from Fear. There'll be the cold embrace for Z-Freak, keeping Limp safe. RTZ tried to take down the Wi-Fi, but didn't quite have the damage. Limp jumps forward, misses the Avalanche, but Chessie will get off the Spirit Lance. The toss onto Artur. The right there, they're trying to bring it down. RTZ will be able to find the kill on Snow with the help of the Nature's Prophet. It's a 2-for-1 at this point. Now EG, they've just got to get the rest of them out of there, and they will do. So a 2-for-1. EG do find the kills, but they lose RTZ for it.
That was a really nice play from Z-Freak. As soon as they see that the fact that the Roar comes out, he pops the Cold Embrace, saves the Tiny's life. I think there was actually a little bit of miscoordination there at the start for Complexity, because as soon as they go in, there was an opportunity to jump on Artur, but the Tiny didn't actually go for the stun and the combo, and I think it would have potentially taken him out very quickly. And
top lane, Universe, he teleports in. They're looking for the pick-off onto Z-Freak. There is going to be a relocate though. PPD gets on the head, but the Avalanche was already casting now. He's got to run. Limps chasing him down, tosses forward Hansken. Hansken bringing PPD down with the balls, and Universe will TP out in time. Limp unfortunately didn't have the skills back off cooldown to take it, but they get themselves the line kill, and Limp gets a bit of space to continue the farm up top.
Yeah, he's getting quite scary at this stage. He's almost got Aghanims completed, only like 800 away. I mean, this is Sumail just finishing bots at 14 minutes. You consider how much more net worth the Tiny has right now than the Ember. It's kind of scary, because it's still going to be a long time before he's really going to get himself off the ground. And in that time, like everyone in Complexity, they're utilizing the map very well. There's Ancient Stack being farmed here by Swindle. Everyone's pretty much getting some semblance of farm while the team fights aren't going down. The only person who's kind of suffering right now is Chessie. He's the guy that we're looking at and saying, all right, he might need a little bit of room. He's only got treads right now, but the fact that Limp is just having a phenomenal match, I think that could be enough to carry them into the mid game and buy that time that Chessie desperately needs at this point.
500 gold away from the completed Aghanims here on the Tiny. And we're already seeing how much the combo is doing. Well, with that, he should be able to clear out pretty much anyone on the map that he gets the jump in on the combo off on. And bottom lane, eyes are on Chessie. PPD maybe seeing if he can get into position. Chessie keeps it cool, plays it smart. He's not going to hang around, and in fact, he does have the rest of Complexity coming around behind him, so he might want to try and set something up here on this bottom lane.
Fighting into the 5-mana Complexity is so scary, though. You kind of have to put yourself in a situation where you know you're going to get a pick before the real fight kicks off, because in skirmishes, EG's team is great. They have good mobility, high single target damage, good disable, but in 5 versus 5, they're playing into Ravage, they're playing into Winter's Curse. A Tiny initiation too can be pretty devastating if he hits more than one target with the Avatos. There's just so many factors, and like vision is going to be crucial, especially fighting into this, which is why I kind of like the Beastmaster pick here from EG. We talked about the greed of it and how it made that one successful rotation onto middle lane, but other than that, it feels like it hasn't really been able to do a lot outside of just scout, which is a really big deal for sure, like not taking anything away from the vision that you can give. But it seems like there's really only 1 or 2 good Roar targets, and either one of them can just be cold embraced.
And there we have it now. 16 minutes in, Blink, Treads, Aghanims done on your Tiny.
He is so farmed.
This is going to be incredibly scary. On top of that as well, Tranquil's picked up on Io, so a little bit of extra regen to help out the Tiny if he can keep himself nicely behind the back of the fight. And Universe, what was he doing? He was building onto his Ags, wasn't he? He himself, 1,700 away from the Aghanims. So Universe will be able to keep the pressure on globally and keep the lanes pushed in. The question is, the later this game goes, whose draft do you favour? I guess Complexity have got the beef with the Tiny and the PL, but EG, with the Ember and the Nature's Prophet and the Clicks, they've got the route potential, but PPD, no mercy for the man there as Complexity jumps straight in. Fear wants to be a bit careful about hanging around as well. But yeah, draft-wise, how do you favour it if it does go late?
It's a bit tricky. I think that Complexity might have a slight advantage because I always like teams with Tiny IO.
Yeah.
That seems to be...
Because your Axe can just
Yeah, at any stage, any point in the game, you can just say, oh, okay, well, we're going to relocate backdoor, and we don't push out one lane, and all of a sudden our base is exposed. Granted, EG probably have two of the best heroes at dealing with rats, having Fury in themselves and also Ember, who can make it from top to bottom lane in a couple of seconds and then just go right back. So they do have the tools to deal with it. I just have a tendency to favor the team that has a lot of options, and I think that EG in the 5 versus 5 department don't quite match up as well. And if they do fight 5 versus 5, their coordination just has to be on another level. Complexity have just mass AoE team fight and an insane amount of burst damage, which is quite a bit easier to execute.
And in terms of 5v5, do you think this game you would rather favour to see Swindles pick up the Greaves before the Blink on the Tyrant? Because they've already got the initiation from the Tiny?
I mean, having a Blink follow-up is always good. You could make the argument that the first Blink Dagger that you buy is really good on the team, and then the second Blink Dagger is even better because you can get the kill faster and say that the follow-up is always going to be there and on point. So I think Blink is definitely still a choice for him.
Oh, it's easy. He doesn't want to hang around here. Limp and Hanskin coming around the corner. Sumail is in the neighbourhood, and Sumail, he's picking up the farm. 2k on top of the boosted travel. EG, they've got their eyes on top RTZ, hoping that Hanskin comes away from the town. Hanskin may have just come back a little bit too far. 1-2, bring him low. They'll get the slight, and Sumail coming through. But Zifreet now with a return, and Sumail's just going to get himself out of there. It's Complexity. See if they can try and catch anyone from the side of EG on this way out. But EG, they smoke up and they run. With the boosted movement speed, they'll be out of there, and we'll be able to avoid Complexity counter-initiating.
And very uncharacteristic there, Sumail actually missed his combo. He didn't hit the Searing Chains on the IO, so as soon as he realizes that, he decides, we probably can't go for this kill anymore. Just going to go ahead and bail. Not sure if the fight would have favored them either way, because there was a big reaction coming in from Complexity, so it might have been a blessing in disguise that they didn't actually end up taking that engagement in the first place. But here come Cole. They have their Aghanim's Tiny. Oh, what a dodge.
Jukes it out. Straight away, the reactions are there. And worth noting as well, so as you kind of said, that you would like to see Swindles go for the blinks. They've got the double blink now, Cole.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that Untied, it's very hard to justify skipping it when you already have your teamfight support items, like having your Arcanes, having your mech finished. I do think that a lot of the time Greaves can be good, but normally it's in situations where you're pushing the enemy or you're like slow sieging. Any time where you know that they're going to be coming to you is when Greaves is a really good choice, on Tide specifically. But when you want to make sure that you can take a team fight on your own terms, the Blink Dagger initiation is something that just can't be underestimated.
Universe with this Ag's eyes are really going to be on this Nature's Prophet to see just how well he can hold the momentum of the game. And so far, Universe, he's been showing us that he can do the side of EG. And with this Nature's Prophet on top of the Ags, do you think we are going to see just the Ags into Octarine or anything else that Universe will contemplate?
I think the Ags Octarine is the most common pairing that we see. I don't know if he wants to go back for something like a Hex for a little bit more disable, or if he wants to go for a right-click, split-push oriented build that's not based around just the ultimate. Because it feels like at some point, EG will have to take a team fight. I don't think you can rat this team to death. The mobility of IO Tiny is just a little bit too much, and especially since they line up, and they're just going to be going straight into Roshan. This is a very nice move. EG have no idea that this is going on. And I think this is pretty much just tower.
It doesn't look like they're going to get this.
It might be tower for Roche, but they also might kill it fast enough to react to the top tower. We'll see though. It's not dropping that fast.
Yeah, they've got the relocate. They don't have a fort though, so if RT's chipping away at it, they will lose the tier 2, but I think Complexity will be happy with that one. They get the Roshan. EG are going to continue to push up the top and start to get the pressure in on the mid. But that's going to be Aegis onto Limp's Tiny. And now they'll TP back. The question is, can they actually fight off the back of it? It's just going to be Chessie here at the moment, so they don't have the catch to hold EG in place. And the rest of Complexity return to the base, and that will stop EG from getting the push on. And now after that Roshan, Tiny's 1800 gold, and so he's picked up the Yasha now, next hit for them.
I don't know if he's going to go full Manta or if he's going to go back for like AC or something. I typically have I have this thing where I don't like buying Manta against Ember, because sometimes when you Manta, you eat a Sleight of Fist and it can just increase the damage that you take rather than give you actual survivability. But you could also make the argument that being able to Manta out of stuff like Searing Chains, as long as you time it properly, could be good. And plus, I think it's really nice for the late game when you're sieging the base, because Tiny is almost all base damage, so your illusions actually hit quite hard. What
do you think we're going to see coming out next on the PL for Cole?
You He's saving a bit of money. I wonder if he's just going to go for the Yasha build, or does anyone on the team? I don't think anyone has a Vlad's, right? I don't know if he wants to play like the hard position 1, considering how good of a game Limp is actually having. Because Tiny is one of those heroes where even if you have a Blink Dagger in your inventory, you're still like pretty strong as a 6 slot. Not the strongest, but definitely up there. And in this type of game, I think it would work out pretty okay. But we'll see. We'll see soon. He might go Diffusal. He might go Yasha. Those are probably the 2 highest priority items he's thinking of right now.
Swindles, just wandering towards the top with that Invis rune. It was of course spotted out by EG. There was a treant on him when he picked him up. So it's unlikely. Hiding in the trees at the moment.
Oh god. The spirits!
Oh!
The trees!
Get your balls
They
out,
didn't see him! Oh my
PPD.
god.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The amount of panic, and I'm pretty sure he actually canceled an auto or 2 there. That was terrifying. Tower's gonna be secured here by Artor, and looks like they're just gonna go for a 1-for-1 trade as offlane. Tier 1 for EG is probably gonna be dropping here too. I don't see EG fighting 5 versus 5. They're gonna try to abuse the Beastmaster for Hawk Vision. Okay.
Samael.
He's fine.
He's alright.
I mean, the best thing they can hope to do is like curse into Tidehunter Ravage. Like that's probably the best way to kill him. But you can't deal damage in curse anymore if you initiate with it. Like if you don't catch anyone else on EG, it's just a stun, which means that you have to overlap the Ravage at the right time to make sure that you can actually deal damage as a follow-up. So it's quite easy for him to play aggressive, as long as he knows the Tiny isn't around.
You can see Samael is getting kind of closer to some of the members of Cole, but he's feeling pretty confident in terms of zip-zapping around some of these heroes on the side of Complexity. Got the Diffusal picked up by the PL now, so we'll be able to see the Phantom Lancer kicking out a little bit more in these fights. Swindles and Limp. Confident to try and find something. They've still got timing on that Aegis here for the Tiny, so see if Complexity are able to use that and try and go for some more objectives. As Limp starts to begin to clear out the mid lane. Hansken, he's got the full army here being sent onto him by Fear. Limp jumping up, just seeing if he can find the Beastmaster himself on the back of it. He'll clear up the army, looking for a bit.
Actually, Complexity still with the second life here on the tier 2. They're going on
at the moment in the middle, so they are going to have to back. PPD was pushing down the bottom. Universe comes in, gets the avalanche onto Samael. PPD comes forward, will get the stun onto Limp, holding. GD trying to suck. He's going to almost certainly jump back in at the first, says I'm secure.